On this one, it's over at Paco Baptist, and they shared with me that the VBS materials for all their teachers, all the ones used by kids, were actually our old VBS materials. After it made its way to another church in Hawaii, we sent it over to the Philippines, and it's going to another church in the Philippines, and another church in the Philippines. So it's being well used, so thank you. This one, some people weren't as much of a fan of the food, so Carmel made sure to bring her own food all over the place. If you can't tell, those are Krispy Kremes.
I want to say thank you so much for allowing me to go with your church, and I guess now with my church. Been here for a couple of months, but it is starting to feel like family, and honestly, just being allowed to go back to my first love, which is being overseas and sharing the gospel, just meeting people, is just something that I had not been able to do. Well, it hadn't been 8 years, it had been at least 3 years since I've been on a mission trip, maybe even 4. So that was something that I was really grateful to go and see and experience someplace new. I'd never been to the Philippines. I'd never, seen their culture firsthand and in that setting and everything. So it was just something that, I don't know, it's just something in me that I just love meeting new people. And I love seeing God's creation. And that not only involves the world and the mountains and, the oceans and things, it really involves the people, because it is the people that make the heartbeat of the world. And it's that heart that we want to turn towards Christ. And just by being able to go on these mission trips, either short-term, long-term, and if it's across the street or across the ocean, that's really what we're supposed to do, is reach out for these hearts and grab them with all that we have and turn towards Christ. What I think is really kind of cool in Ben's presentation, he put up one of my favorite verses, or I guess got to like it when I was overseas, and it's just kind of followed me all throughout the last few years, but it's Proverbs 16:9. A man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. And I think that kind of applies to me being here and being in your church. Like, I'm here in Hawaii, which I never really thought I'd be here, but the Lord has directed my steps, and I'm kind of wondering now, like, having been able to go on this mission trip and do these things, if God didn't have imagined, God had a plan. Carmel may not have known it at the time, but God knew all along why He brought me here to Hawaii, and why He brought me to this church. Maybe He was opening the doors for me to get back and to do what He has put in my heart to do. So again, just thank you for that opportunity. I think the most powerful moment for me personally was the last day that we were in the northern part of the country, like in the villages. I think Pastor Allen talked about a little bit today, and it was like a farming village, and we, had kind of broken up to go into different groups and to go witness to different people. And so I went with one group, and then that group even got split again, because I really did connect with the college students. It was amazing, and I loved it. So I went with one of them, and I think Ben was in the group too. And so we were in this house, inside this teeny tiny dark house. We took our shoes off, and we walked on the concrete, and we sat on like these boxes and little stools, and it was just the most humbling and blessed and serene experience. Ben may not think that it's his talent to evangelize, but it is, just to let you know. He did a great job, and it was just really encouraging for me to see that as well. So it was just, that to me was the most powerful moment, was being in that house and just sitting there. And it was pretty dark inside, I thought. The window was there, so I saw, Ben was, he was sharing the gospel, so I was sitting there praying, but also looking out the window and just thanking God for being able to be there in that tiny little house, in that dark room, with my shoes off, touching the concrete, not knowing really what was over in the corner. Sometimes I'm afraid of what's over in the corner, so I try not to look too much. But just to really be there and to realize that, this is something that God has allowed, and that we may not think that, I don't know, sometimes our plans don't work out, but sometimes there's God's plans, and or what we think is something different may actually be a part of what He has for us to do. So being with the college students was just amazing. When I was actually in college, I didn't really like college students. When I went overseas, I was working mostly with younger children, middle school kids. I'd always worked with preschool kids when I was here in the States and everything, and I was just like, I can deal with you through about 7th grade, and then I'll just let someone else handle it. But honestly, when I was overseas the first time living in Botswana, I got to really like college students and youth. I mean, that is not my comfort zone. My comfort zone is, hey, if you're like 3 feet tall, we are tight. We are best buds. I get you. But working with college students and youth, that's just something that is kind of out of my element, but I found that I love it, actually. And so meeting the 3 college students, but especially the 2 girls, and just really talking to them was kind of like being back on the mission field for me. Like, oh, I remember this, and they really were just so filled with joy and filled with the Holy Spirit and wanting to share that with anyone and everyone that they met. You could tell in how they led the VBS that we went to. They were the leaders, like they were there, they were helping put it on, they were communicating with the kids, and I think they were even an encouragement to the pastors and their wives and like some of the older congregation members that were at the church. And they really put Timothy to use, when Paul is saying, don't let someone look down on you because you're young, but set an example. And let me tell you, these college students really set an example. So I just want to encourage, I guess, you all and myself, like, even back here in the States, I'm like, okay, maybe I just like them when they're overseas. But, just to invest in the younger generation. Sometimes we don't understand them, and I know I'm not too far off from them, but I don't get them sometimes. I didn't get them when I was in college, so, sometimes I still don't. But really, just make that investment in them and just help them carry forward, because they are the ones that are reaching out, and they were the ones that went out to this village with us, and they were all about it. Okay, let's go, and they knew, they had been practicing their evangelism, their evangelism gifts and abilities, like been practicing how to share the gospel. And that was something that I personally learned on this trip. Even though I've lived overseas, for a number of years, and I've been on missions, and I've been on like short-term missions, but usually with like a project, to do or something like that. It was something that I myself learned that, kind of like the sermon today, I need to be prepared. Be prepared for, 1 Peter 3:15. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you for a reason for the hope that you have, and do it with gentleness and respect. And that is something that I've committed to doing. And again, in that small house where we are at, and Ben was doing a great job evangelizing, I had stumbled through evangelizing in my first group, and thankfully Pastor Allen was there and took over. After I was like, okay, and I heard crickets. I was like, it's you. So he was able, to bring it to a head. But that's something that I've learned. Although, quote unquote, I have this experience, I don't necessarily have the door-to-door experience. And I know that can be intimidating a lot of times, just going up to someone and talking to them and, finding out how to bring the gospel about. But I do really think if we have a couple of these tools in our belt, then it'll make us more confident and able to engage in these conversations. So that's something that I've really committed to after this trip, was just to be more prepared. And I think that's great. Be prepared in season and out of season. Maybe we're out of season back here in the States. We're not overseas on a mission trip, but we are on God's mission field, which is planet Earth. So I think that, as we live and breathe here in Minilani, that we were able to share the gospel. And Ben touched on some of the college students, and especially the girls, Nina and Jones. Nina especially, her testimony was just, it was just really powerful to me. She became a Christian when she was in college, but she went home, and her parents did not like that decision that she made. And they didn't just like it, they tried to keep her from it. Like physically, they took away her Bible. They would not let her go to church. Things that I've not experienced. My parents always took me to church. They gave me my Bible, things like that. That just just to have that opposition in your life day in and day out, and knowing that your family member, the person that's supposed to love you and protect you, is keeping you away from God, is keeping you away from salvation, from that love that has been put in your heart when you do receive Christ. And just to see her, as she was telling her testimony, as she was out there sharing, it was all God. Like, from the inside out, she was just shining for Christ. And that's just pretty humbling for someone who went to church 9 months before I was in the world. Like, that's just something that, let's be grateful for what we have, and being able to come to church and our family, and not only just our own family, but our church family. So that's just something that was just really powerful to me. And I like Mimi a lot. We're Facebook friends now. But she's a teacher by, she says, by profession. She was like, by profession, I'm a teacher. But I'm really a missionary. I was like, you're awesome. Like, we're going to get along great. So she's actually a teacher, but now she's in graduate school working on her master's. And she was like, I'm taking my time. And at first I was like, yeah, I know all about taking your time. Talk to me, girl. And she was like, no. She was like, my parents have said I can do this while I'm in school. So she's in graduate school, and she's prolonging her time so that she can work for the Lord while she's in graduate school. She's pretty smart cookie, if you ask me. So I just asked you to keep her in your prayers, really, because, there is going to come a day when she does have to graduate. And and she will graduate, but I'm hoping that her family will have softened hearts by then. And not only just softened hearts, but hearts that have been given to the Lord. So not only keep her in your prayers, but also her family, so that she doesn't have to go to church by herself. Her family can come too, Just pray for the work that she's involved in with the campus ministry that she and Jones and the young man, I forgot his name, but just that ministry that they have going on, and like any support that they may need or anything like that. I know in my own life, college ministry was huge for me. I mean, that's how I found out about the Journeyman program, and going overseas was through that ministry. So just pray for their ministry, pray that others will come to know the Lord, and that more and more people will just hear about Him. And again, thank you for the opportunity of allowing me to go with my new church family.